Athens, welcome to the Classic City Business Podcast. Our mission, to connect our community to the local business owner. If you love Athens and love supporting the people behind our businesses, then you're in the right place. We get to know the people behind the sign. Some are legends, others are on their way. You're listening to the Classic City Business Podcast with your friend, your host, all-around great guy and owner of Generations Commercial Cleaning, John Glutt. So get ready, buckle up. Hang on, here we go. Okay, Athens, welcome to the Classic City Business Podcast. I'm your host, John G., and today we're connecting our community to the people behind the sign at
Global Escapes.
That's right, we got Tiffany Hines with us. Tiffany, let's just start off. Tell us a little bit about Global Escapes, what you guys do, how you serve the community, how you got started, frankly.
Well, my mother started our company when I was actually a student at the University of Georgia, and it seemed very exciting at the time. I had never really traveled much, so the idea of the world kind of opening up to me was very excited. We actually opened our offices in the building across the street. That was in 1988.
So where are we right now?
697 South Millage Avenue.
South Millage Avenue, that's right.
Thanks. But yeah, so I finished college and decided to stick with the company, and this year we'll be celebrating 35 years in business.
Man, does that make you feel old?
It does, very old.
How old were you when your mom started it?
19.
Wow. Oh, so you...
19.
Okay.
I was starting my sophomore year of college.
Oh, I bet you did think that was cool.
It was really cool. So I had never really traveled much beyond the Florida coast. So all of a sudden the world kind of opened up to me, and yeah, it's just kind of evolved from there.
So 35 years. Mm-hmm. Obviously, your perspective about the business is a lot different than it was when you were 19. It's like, let's go travel.
Absolutely. I think that's what's really helped us evolve as a company, because I'm a traveler. I love to explore. I love to get out in the world. And I travel very differently as a 53-year-old than I did as a 20-year-old, and I think that kind of lends itself when we're meeting with clients and trying to help them figure out where to go and how to do it the best way. We can kind of take our experience in that and contribute that to it.
Yeah, I did come into this even thinking about that, but are you selling different things to different age brackets?
We are. I mean, we really deal with all age brackets. People ask us a lot, like, what do we specialize in? And we always say it's relationships. Travel's a very emotional purchase, and we feel very passionate about exploring the world. And I think, especially in this day and age where things can be so divided, it's really awesome to see people go to a new destination and kind of their mind is a little bit more open and a little bit more understanding. And I really personally believe that's kind of how you bridge the gap with the world. You've got to go there. You've got to step foot in that country and talk to the people and eat their food. And it kind of makes you understand their customs and things better. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to agree with everything they believe, but I think it gives you a little bit more of an open mind.
I did not expect that perspective. It's a cool way to come at it. Mm. Like it's important to, I think in life in general, we talk about how great Athens is in our community, to have a conversation. You don't have to walk away agreeing, but have a conversation in a weird way. That's kind of what that looks like, Yeah. And you offer that service in it's almost like a sidebar, like the little thing over here.
Well, sometimes I don't always get into that deep conversation.
Yeah, say that. We just went into the deep end right off the bat.
We jump right in the deep end, but it is. I think there's a little bit more of a sidebar story that I could go into more detail later at another time with you. But I did have a little bit of what I call an epiphany in 2008, and it was a situation where within a couple of years here in Athens, we had some pretty traumatic events with some local people. And, long story short, I was just had a moment one day. I feel like it was divine intervention, but it made me realize how incredibly important what we do is. It's not just about booking a trip or a vacation. It's really helping people create and have some of the most memorable times of their lives that they'll take with them forever. Grandparents taking their grandchildren on vacation, and business owners stepping away from the hustle and bustle of running their business, husbands and wives taking anniversary trips, families connecting with their kids before they graduate. You know, I mean, we've had some pretty profound experiences that we've helped with. People that have found out they have a terminally ill parent, and they're gonna gather everybody together and go away for a last fun vacation. I mean, there have been some that are, super traumatic like that, but some that are also just, destination weddings that are so exciting and fun. So it's a big deal.
See, I didn't know what can of worms I was opening up here, did I?
It's a big can.
It's a big can.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought I knew where I was going to go with this, and it's like, okay, that's kind of a whole different street. Like, where do I go? What is probably your favorite thing about what you do? And I know you just described a lot of different things, and none of them was what I expected you to say. But if you had to pick one thing, what's the thing that makes you the most happy and excited about getting up every day?
Well, for me, it's at this point, at this stage in my career, it's developing people. I love bringing new people onto our team and kind of showing them how we do things and kind of our perspective, how we look at things a little bit differently. We're all helpers here. We love people. We love helping people. So, it's just kind of developing. I'm definitely a growth mindset kind of person. So I love to see people kind of push themselves outside their comfort zone, and when you start to see the dots connecting, that's when it really kind of all comes full circle. That part is really fun for me. But honestly, after the last couple of years that we've had, where the travel industry went down to ground zero, and the whole industry is kind of trying to ramp back up as fast as possible.
How scary was that for you, if I may interrupt? Like, cause did you feel like you might lose everything? Was it that traumatic?
Absolutely. And there were some days where I literally could not get out of bed. It was very traumatic. And I think the other thing, because my mother had created such a strong foundation and such a great business, and I just kept telling my husband, this ship is not going down on my watch. So we just kind of hung in there, we kept looking at, we've got enough cash reserves for another 6 months, and then we would keep going, and then there would be another 6 months. And then finally, I think in mid-21, when things started kind of somewhat opening back up, things started feeling a little bit better. But it really wasn't until last spring, that things officially kind of opened up. In June, early June, when the U.S. eliminated the restrictions coming back into the U.S., that was when the whole travel industry took like a collective sigh of relief, and we got back at it full steam. But my main concern during that time was really just looking out for our people, our employees, and making sure that we were prepared, because we knew when business came back, it would be busy. We had no idea it would be as busy as it has been in the last 3 months. It's been really crazy.
That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing.
It's challenging, but in a good way. Yeah, it's fun. It's finally getting fun again, because we've always kind of laughed about the fact that we're in a very happy business for the most part. Now, I say that, and that's 70% of our business. We do still do quite a bit of corporate travel. And not that that's not happy. I mean, sure, people are happy that our corporate team is kind of saving them time and energy, but for the most part, the bulk of what we do is help people plan really memorable bucket list type vacations, and it's exciting and it's fun, and we kind of get into that with our clients. We really kind of live vicariously through them sometimes when we're planning these experiences, and especially when we're working with someone that's going to a destination that's new for them, but we've been there. We know what this is going to look like for them, so we can't wait for them to get back so we can talk about it.
So, unsolicited side note, my mom, I lost her to cancer. I say our family did.
Right.
And my dad was I'll say, a workaholic,
Right.
you know, and didn't have a lot of time to do other things. They were very close. They were best friends, but they didn't take a lot of trips. And so when my mom first got ovarian cancer, she went into remission. And the crazy thing is, she was like stage 3, stage 4, at the end of stage 3, stage 4, it was a death sentence. And she beats it, right? So my dad's like, okay, this is a gift from God. They started traveling, and they started taking these trips and these cruises. And I guess it was about 6 or 7 years later, she got a brain tumor that was positive for ovarian. And apparently that's very rare. So to this day, God, my dad believes, and he's probably right, that was God's way of saying, look, I gave you this time.
Take advantage of
right.
it. Absolutely. That gives me chills.
It does me too, and talking about and the way my dad feels about it is grateful, and got the opportunity to spend that time with her doing those exciting trips. But I say that actually to say this. He now has a relationship with his booking agent, and they're constantly working. They basically, what he does is, you know, he starts saving money until he reaches the number of trips, whether that's a year or 18 months or whatever it is. And I think that's a really cool thing because he's able to tap into something in his life that we all should experience. But that relationship was a dynamic I didn't really think about until I was sitting here having this conversation with you, and you started telling these stories.
Well, the more we get to know our clients, the better we can help them. The more we can really understand what makes them tick, what excites them, what is their profession, what are their hobbies. You know, it helps us in guiding them towards making the right choices, because sometimes it's not about you know, they'll come to us with an idea of where they want to go, but they may not be 100% sure. And once they start telling us kind of what they're looking for, what the purpose or the reason that they're getting away is, we can kind of steer that conversation in a direction that's more beneficial to them. We always want to see people get the most value out of their time away. One of the things I say often around here is you can always make more money, but once that time is gone, it's gone forever. And so, you know, we always say that people are walking around with cell phones in their hands. You know, everybody has internet at their fingertips. And we are really here for the people who don't have the desire or time to do it themselves. And for those people, we can really dig into their lives and get to know them well and help them stay proactive when it comes to travel, because a lot of people look forward to those spring breaks and those summer vacations or those anniversary trips, whatever those big milestones are, but sometimes you just get caught up in day-to-day life, and it's hard to plan and spend the time to pull together an itinerary. Or maybe you have multiple people traveling and you've got a lot of opinions on what this vacation should look like, and so we can really take that and kind of be the moderator to help push it through and make it happen. That's the biggest thing, because going back to what you said about your mom and your dad, in 2008 when I had that moment, it really was a situation where I realized, you know, we're not getting any younger, and I really, it was breaking my heart to hear about things happening to people too young on one hand, but also the people who were getting to the point of retirement and they had been saving all these great experiences and vacations for someday.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, let's don't do that. Like, let's try to make sure that we've got some fun, exciting things to look forward to all along while we're going through life.
Well, we have plenty of time until we don't.
Until we don't. That's right.
It's funny. It's really across the board. We think we know what the future holds. We think we're going to live forever. We think that you know, things in our life are always going to be that way. And you know, the toughest lesson to learn is we're not promised tomorrow.
That's right.
Right. So that's, wow. We really did go deep. That was not what this podcast is supposed to be about, but I'm really glad that you went there.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about the business that you want to let us all know about before we go to the next segment?
I think the biggest thing right now is coming out of this pandemic has been very traumatic, you know, for everybody in different ways. And I think it's really, what's been interesting to us is that people are getting back out there and traveling, but they're going big. And that's really exciting for us, because that really means that people have reflected and thought about how at any moment things in the world or their own life could change. And so don't put off those, monumental experiences or things that you want to do. You need to get to doing them. And it really, for us, it really starts with just having a plan. So once we kind of develop a relationship with a client, we, get through that initial trip that they typically reached out to us for. Then after that, it's more about, let's talk about the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Where are you in your life? Do you have kids in middle school or high school? Let's talk about trying to take advantage of while you have control over your schedule. And let's make sure that we've got some very memorable family vacations that you can have and that they can take with them. And then beyond that, it's, really just helping people kind of think about beyond once the kids are out of the house. And just like I said, just helping people be proactive and stay on top of the planning. Right now, what we're running into is that prices are about anywhere from 20 to 50% more than they were before the pandemic. So our conversations right now are starting out with, first, let me tell you, prices have gone through the roof, and we get it because we're seeing it, and our eyeballs are like popping out too. But beyond.
So, but you said that people are going big. So even though the price has gone up, you're seeing not just, I don't know what normal is, normal trip, but
well, normal. I mean, we've always done a fair amount of travel to Western Europe and some Eastern Europe. Italy has always been very popular. For some reason this year, Italy and Greece are like the two places
so overseas
wanting to go. Yes. Well, and you think about it. I mean, there was a period of time where you couldn't really leave the country. And so that was when the national parks and all these places within the U.S. were getting so bombarded with travelers because nobody could go anywhere else, or they didn't feel, there was just so much uncertainty. And then the thought of having to take a test to come back into the U.S. and thinking about getting stuck somewhere was problematic. So once that kind of went away, then it was like everybody's ready to go.
So do you think that it was because people had done all the stuff at home?
Yes.
And need to go somewhere? Or was it just a matter of when you don't have something or access to something, all of a sudden you miss it and want to do it? Or a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both. And I think at the end of the day, we all just got 3 years older. We just 3 years of our lives
that was
just
cruel,
went
wasn't
by
it?
like that, right? So it's like we got to get back out there. And my mother has even said, I've got all these things I want to do and see, and now I just lost 3 years. I got to make up for this lost time. So there are a lot of like destination weddings and honeymoons and 16-year-old birthdays and 21-year-old birthdays or whatever that people celebrated during that time that now they're trying to kind of make up for those lost opportunities. And so, it's exciting, but at the same time, we know that it's going to kind of level out at some point. But what I hope doesn't go away is that need or that thirst for people to get out in the world and explore. Because I do think it's important at a deeper level. I think it really helps to expand minds and create a little bit more understanding of other places.
And if nothing else, perspective.
Absolutely.
Right?
I do some of my best thinking at 30,000 feet up looking out of that airplane window. So, yeah.
Well, that par for course, our segment goes long. This next segment is what we call Get to Know You. Mm-hmm. So this is really what we're here for. So let's get to know the person behind the sign. Mm-hmm. Tiffany, if I were to ask you if there was something about yourself that even the people that know you best might not know, what would that be?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, you didn't prep for that question.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I'm pretty much an all out there kind of person, so I don't know that there's a whole lot people wouldn't know. It's all about fun. I just think life it can be challenging. There can be difficulties, and we all go through ups and downs, peaks and valleys. My husband and I always say life is like peaks and valleys. But it's like looking forward to the fun. I think that's the other thing about vacations is it kind of gives you a marker of something to look forward to. I don't know.
I was going to ask you too, and I am going to go backwards here, but since you brought that up, your clientele, are these mostly made up of, or a percentage of people who like are going to do a trip, one time, or are they relationships that you've had with people that you're constantly saying, okay, this is the next one?
Yeah. If you go on our website and you kind of read a little bit about the story of our company, I think the best analogy is the tagline we have, travel with friends. There's some kind of different meanings to that. And I think a lot of our employees have learned over the years that it is about a relationship. The more we understand somebody, the better we know them, the better we can help them and kind of, like I said earlier, steer them in the right direction. But it's also about service. And when you have a relationship with somebody, you care about them.
Yeah.
And when they're on the other side of the world and they have a problem or they're stuck, you care about them. And so it's having that advocate, that person that's going to be able to really help you through whatever situation it may be. And we take it personally. What we do take it very personally. And so it's just a whole different level of service is what it is.
I have an applause button on this thing. I haven't figured out how it works yet, but I absolutely love that, Tiffany. I think that actually speaks to what I'm finding is the heart of Athens and the leadership that I've been fortunate to talk to about this kind of stuff and come on the podcast. It's a recurring theme. So I know I went backwards. Let's get back to you. Hey y'all, let's get back with Tiffany next week. This is another one of our conversations that went way too long, so we're going to break it up into 2 parts. We'll see you next week. Okay, guys, we did it. We made it to the end of the show. Now that you've heard at least one episode, can you do me a favor? If you know someone you would like to hear on a future episode, you can contact us or have them contact us at podcastjohng@gmail.com or just message us on our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Just search the Classic City Business Podcast. You'll find us. One more thing. Please like, rate, review, and share. All of this really helps a lot. We really do want to connect our community to the local business owner. We believe this is a great platform to do just that. And thank you for taking this ride with us as we get to know the people behind the sign. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Athens, until next time, I'm John G. and go Dogs.